most people would be having an idea, but they actually don't know where to start with, especially with funding. So,
Right. So I just put a one quick experience that I had. So we have an incubator in our institute. Incubators are small. They are also kind of a startup, which actually helps you to uh, grow by giving you initial mentorship and support. So whenever I would discuss with them that I need fund to move ahead, the first thing they would say that don't think about fund. So often it happens is that we start with the funding, and that is one big problem because that sets your mentality on a different road. If you would have watched a lot of serials based on this great leaders, they would always point out that you would be given a weapon when you actually can fight without it. And funding is on the same lines. So you would be given funds when you can prove that, hey, I don't need funds. And that can happen when your idea is refined to that level that you can convince anyone into believing you. That is the most important element. And so how do you do that? Something very critical about it is having that confidence and gut feeling that be anyone with me or not, I will make this idea a brilliant hit, right? So that is very important. uh, be it anything, I am going to go ahead with it, whether people support me or not. So that kind of crazy mentality you have to have. So let's say you have a particular idea. The first thing to do is see how can you modify it, modulate it so that someone would want to buy it. So in startup, the important thing is not what you want the product to be, but what a customer would want the product to be. So that is the shift we need to have. Sometimes it's only necessary that you make the product as simple as possible rather than complicating. Because the question is, would the user want a complicated system? I mean, as an inventor, you would always be happy I made the world's most complicated system. It's an achievement for an engineer. But is that what a customer would appreciate, specifically when he's paying you money for this? Right. So, so it's important that you start thinking from the customer's point of view when you want your idea to reach to the customers, and that is what we mean by positioning the product. So, how do you position your final product? Now, once that is ready, then it's all about refining. How do you refine? By talking about your idea to multiple people. Now, this is one more mistake that a lot of people make. They would not want to disclose their idea, thinking that they are the only one who have thought of this idea in the entire world. The fact is that there are a lot of people who would have already thought of that idea. If that product is not into the market, it's because of lack of execution. Nobody thought of executing it, or maybe did not believe in the idea. So only if you can have that guts to to get into the execution, which is the most difficult part, only then that product can come to the market. So it's important that you focus on execution rather than being very insecure about your idea being leaked and someone else taking it over. It's not that easy. So talk to people because that will give you clarity on what exactly you want to do. Clarity is important. If you don't have that, you'll never be able to get a product out in time. So clarity is very important. And after that, what happens is when you start discussing this idea with multiple people, you start attracting people who share common vision. And in that case, what would happen is you would start building a team. Now, team for a startup is the most crucial element. So startup essentially is a company, right? And we understand what company means. So it has to be a group of people. So you alone won't be able to do the entire startup. So you need few people who are there to put their heart, soul, and everything into it to make it successful. The more such dedicated people you have in your team, the faster you'll be able to get your startup shot up. So, but for that, you will really need to do that discussion with the, different kind of people. It's not easy to find good people for a startup. I have my colleagues who are single founders of their company, and they're yet looking for co-founders, and not being easy to do that. So talk more, specifically when you are in your student life. It's best talking to different students, see what kind of students are interested, and get together and form a team. Stay motivated. Now, once that is done, build very simple working model of your product that you feel would be best for the market. Very simple model, right? Say you might be wanting to make a truly wireless earphones which are very small, but you do not have access to fabricating those small electronics. Not a big deal. You make this big electronics and say that this way I'm going to make it this small. Perfectly fine, right? But build that, because that will show the stakeholder that this person is capable of converting his idea into a real product. And then there's entire world to help you to make it to what you exactly want. But is your vision clear? That is the most important thing. Many times what happens is that investors would not like the idea that you're proposing, would think that there's no value in what you're doing, but because they like your team, they would yet fund you. And they may direct you to work on some other product which they think is going to be a big hit. And there has been a lot of startups which actually had that kind of pivoting as well. So team is the most critical part of a startup. So even if your idea is not fabulous, someone can yet fund you. But you have the best team. If you have the best idea but not a good team to execute, very little chance that you are going to get funding if you are not able to create the team. You have a best team, but you're not. Your execution cannot be proven. Again, no chances of funding. So, in simple words, discuss your idea, refine it, create that clarity in your brain by talking to so many people, build a strong team, start working on building a simple working model of what you actually want to make, and then go to different bodies. Money will flow.